Today we're driving the 2023 Volkswagen Jetta Sport. We have a 6-speed manual transmission, a switchblade key. Let's walk you around this. We'll take it for a drive and give you guys some thoughts on what it's been like to live with this week. This Jetta Sport has been a really refreshing car to get into this last week, and I've really enjoyed my time in it. The manual transmission is fantastic. The controls in the interior and everything are very simple. No haptic touchscreen nonsense. We just get physical dials and controls for our climate. CarPlay, Android Auto is a wired connection. This Jetta has the driver assistance package, so we get travel assist, which is basically just lane centering and adaptive cruise control, all for a price as tested of $23,605. This Jetta Sport has a 1.5 liter turbo that makes 158 horsepower, but it's a good, strong German 158 horsepower. Pulls well, really nice flat torque curve, and it's kind of fun to drive with a manual transmission. The manual feels very similar to the GLI and GTI shifter, which is very good. We have 205/55 R17-inch tires. Yeah, nice to see some sidewall. Rides well, looks pretty good. A nice agreeable styling here with the Jetta. We've got tons of trunk space in the back. This pops up automatically. These compact cars always have really nice interior room. The packaging here is just top notch. No spare tire in this Jetta, but you could outfit it with one, no problem. Let's check out the back seat. I like the subtle seat piping on these cloth seats. I'm 5'10". This is my driving position. I have plenty of room back here. About 2.5, 3 inches of headroom. Here's an armrest. And a better look at the front seats. Starting price on this Jetta is $21,555. You get a nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. Touch points feel good. This is honestly one of the first Volkswagens I've driven in a long time that really feels like it punches above its price point. Yeah, I like the new styling here. This looks nice. Sport badging right here on the B-pillar. Let's pop the hood, take a look at this 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. The EPA rates this Jetta at 29 miles to the gallon in the city and 42 mpg on the highway. Takes 0W20 oil, regular gasoline. It's hugely efficient. All week I've been averaging over 40 miles to the gallon in this without even trying. And if you guys are familiar with the Daily Motor YouTube channel, you know they do fuel economy tests on the highway. This broke their record a couple weeks ago for their highest MPG ever. It got 50 miles to the gallon on the highway, 50. Just amazing. I was floored. I couldn't believe it. So, hugely efficient, especially with the manual transmission. Gearing's pretty tall, and that probably helps a lot. This is also pretty lightweight, about 2,900 pounds. Again, love how simple this interior is. Everything's a physical control. We've got auto up-down windows on all 4 corners. Very CarPlay focused infotainment. Physical controls on the steering wheel. We get a couple different views with our digital gauge cluster, but I kind of prefer this one. You can select a bunch of different information in the center display. We'll just choose speed. That looks nice. There's a swipe down menu right here to control your instrument cluster and panel lighting. And then otherwise you've got your volume control. I mean, it is what it is. 2 drive modes, eco and normal. Here's what the reverse camera looks like. Okay, let's set off and take this Jetta for a drive. Parking brake automatically disables when you set off. No stop start in this. You just get in, go. Clutch is light, easy to modulate. This is a great car to drive. Very little rev hang too. I remember driving the GLI last year and it had quite a bit of rev hang, especially at higher revs. This powertrain, this 1.5 turbo, Seems to be a little bit more fluid and natural when shifting through the gears. Not as much rev hang, which I quite like. Ride is comfortable. Michigan roads are extra rough this week, but it seems to soak up all the potholes quite well. Reasonably quiet over bumps. I have great visibility in here. No serious blind spots. We even get blind spot monitoring in the mirrors. Lots of adjustability with the steering wheel, driving position. Let's throw an entrance ramp at it and see how it handles. Engine is really quiet in this Jetta. It says Volkswagen's XDS torque vectoring differential, which is basically just uses the brake bias to kind of control inside wheel spin and get the car rotated around a corner a little bit better. Pretty minimal wind noise on the highway. I like that cruise control stays enabled even after you cycle the car off, so all I have to do is just press the set button. Really easy system to operate. Change your speed right here. You can skip 5-mile-an-hour increments, and then you can enable travel assist, and it'll keep the car pretty well centered between the lines. For 23 grand, this is an amazing driving assistance system. And the fact that systems like this haven't been standard on some 6-figure cars that we've been driving recently makes me love this Jetta even more. This is really, really good value. Surprisingly quiet at speed. I think this has less road noise than a lot of the competition. We've got a bass audio system in here. Let's do a quick sound system test while we're just cruising here on the highway. One thing I do like about cruise control is that you can change gears and cruise control will still be enabled and maintain your speed. Nothing hugely impressive about the sound system. I believe the upgrade would be in the GLI with the Beats audio. But the GLI, again, a little bit more expensive than this Jetta Sport. You get more power, a little bit more performance. But that's just an efficient, simple, affordable A to B daily driver. I love this thing. It's fantastic. If you can find one of these 6-speed manuals too, it's a great gearbox. This just drives so well. One thing that's interesting is that this still maintains the kickdown switch from the automatic car. So you've got this little button at the bottom of the throttle. Pedals are really well placed though, easy to heel toe. And this 1.5 turbo is so responsive that it just loves to rev out. Like I said earlier, gearing is very tall. I think second gear tops out at 68 miles an hour. Brakes have good bite. All of your inputs are really nice. less rev hang than the Civic, less rev hang than the GLI. And this engine's perfectly happy to sit at 1500 RPM and just kind of cruise all day. Doesn't feel like you're bogging it down, doesn't feel underpowered. Surprisingly refined driving experience here for the price. I'm very impressed with what Volkswagen has done with this Jetta Sport. People are always asking me, what would you recommend as a first car? This. This is it. It's safe, it's modern, it's affordable. The manual transmission will keep you out of trouble between stoplights from looking at your phone. This reminds me a lot of my first car, and it costs about the same as it did in '95. My first car was a Volvo 850. I think that was $24,000 in 1995, and this is about just under 24 grand now in 2023. Using all the road. Because this Jetta Sport is so light, it actually handles pretty well. Front end is nice and sharp. Pretty neutral around corners. Not a ton of understeer. I mean, it's fun to drive. Put some sticky tires on this, take it to the local autocross, you'd have a good time. "75 miles an hour on the highway, you're sitting at about 2100 RPM. This Jetta has a little bit over a 13-gallon fuel tank, so you should see about 500 miles to a tank in a car like this, depending on how you're driving it, whether it's city or highway. If you're really eking out the fuel economy on a road trip, you could probably see close to 600 miles to a tank in this. It's just awesome. Adaptive cruise control is really smooth. It seems to blend speed differentials beautifully. Also, because the gearing is so tall in this Jetta, you don't have to shift as much in it. 6th gear is pretty much only a highway gear. So to sum things up, again, this is one of the most refreshing cars that I've driven so far this year in 2023. With everything getting more and more complicated, with cars getting more expensive, and just too involved with the tech, this Jetta is just fantastic to live with on a daily basis. The manual transmission is awesome. I love actually inserting a key into an ignition and turning it instead of a push-button start. I'm glad that Volkswagen has kept the Jetta pure and just easy to drive, easy to live with. This is a fantastic vehicle in its class. Probably prefer this even a little bit to the Civic in some ways. So anyway, highly recommend. If I needed a affordable, fun to drive, daily driver, this Jetta might be at the top of my list. So definitely give it a consideration. And if you can find a manual, I would highly recommend it, because this is very similar to the GTI and GLI shifter. It's got good throw, good action, and this 1.5 turbo is a fun little engine. It's not super quick, doesn't have a lot of power, but it's responsive, hugely fuel efficient, and just executes its purpose beautifully in this car. All right, we'll leave it at that. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.